Hey friends, Patrick here and Happy New Year. It is literally January the 1st today by the time of recording this, and as you can see, new year, new studio, and there is a lot to do still because I had to move upstairs because my old studio is now the room of our second child that arrived this year. But anyways, now let's dive into Blazor again and SignalR this time because I want to show you how you can create a little tiny, really simple chat application with SignalR and Blazor in .NET 8 with the WebAssembly render mode this time. So if you want to see another render mode, then just tell me. So I would say let's dive just right in. But if you like this video, you know the drill, guys. Please hit the like button and maybe even subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for doing that. And already, thank you so much to all my patrons for supporting me. I love every single one of you, and I wish you all a prosperous and healthy and just amazing new year 2024. So now let's start with the tutorial. Alright, so new setup. As you can see now, you can still see me. So this is what you wanted me to do in a poll in the community tab of my channel. You wanted to see me when I explain stuff, when I continue coding something. So here you are. I hope you like it. And as you can see now, I am wearing my glasses and headphones. I don't listen to any music actually, but it helps me focus. I know it's strange, but still I need it. Okay, now this aside, let's focus on Blazor with SignalR. Now we see Visual Studio 2022. We create a new project here, and we will use the Blazor web app template now, new in .NET 8. And now let's call this Blazor SignalR Chat.NET 8. I love these names. So Blazor SignalR Chat.NET 8. That's what we want to do. And no authentication. .NET 8 is the framework. We use the interactive render mode WebAssembly. Okay, you could of course also choose auto here, but in this example I just want to show you WebAssembly per page and component. Not globally would work as well, of course, but this time I think page component makes sense. We include the sample pages, so we already get some stuff. And now when this thing is created, and I really hope that all the recording with OBS works with that new setup and these new scenes I configured, then, and please bear with me if you do not see something in the Solution Explorer, I hope I will notice that and remove my face if it is necessary. Anyways, so here's the overview, and we can start actually with the server already. As you may already know, we have the server project here and also the client project now for the WebAssembly stuff. So really just necessary when you want to use WebAssembly, then you need that client project, but otherwise you simply have the server project, and a lot is already possible with simple Blazor or simply Blazor SSR, static server-side rendering. And for that, you just need the server project. Anyways, regarding SignalR, you definitely need the server project. So here, what we need, the first thing is a hub. And since we want to build a chat, then let's just call this then chat hub. You can, of course, do it as you like, but in my case, let's just create a folder called hubs. And in here, we create a new class called chat hub, like that. And now this thing is actually pretty simple. Real quick, I'm currently creating a .NET 8 Web Dev Jumpstart course, which will be available for free. We're gonna have a look at web APIs and entity framework there, for instance. And if you want to be the first to know when this thing is available, then I recommend just check out the link in the video description and I will send you an email when you can get it. So scroll a bit further down and then you know what to do. And now let's continue with the tutorial. We only have one method there, and what's in this method, what is happening there is that we act on receiving messages. All right, so now let's add this method. It's a public async returning a task. We call this send message, and this name of the method is important, send message, because later then on the client, we will also make use of the exact name. This is really important, and you will see why in a couple of minutes. And we can add some properties here, like the username and the actual message that the user then sends. All right, so the stuff that we send to the server from the client is really just the username and the actual chat message. And then when this method is called and the server registers, okay, someone wants to send a message, then we do the following. We say that to all connected clients, and let me first inherit from the hub class here, that is really important. So with that, we inherit from hub, and then with control period, of course, or the quick fix menu, we add the using directive Microsoft ASP.NET Core SignalR. So please note, you do not have to install any NuGet packages for the server. On the client, you have to, but regarding the server, no NuGet package is necessary. This is some stuff from the past. And with that, then we have the clients here, see? And then we say to all clients that are connected to that chat hub, to that SignalR connection, server, you name it. We call this method here send async. This means that to all clients we broadcast, in essence, a message, and this message then gets also a name, and this time we call this receive message, and also again add the parameters user and message. And as you can see here, you can in essence add as many arguments as you want. And that's it. This is actually the code of the hub. Now we have to also register this thing. We do that in the program CS. And here now we see the beautiful new render mode stuff. So we added interactive WebAssembly components. Server is not added. So if you want to use server for some reason, then you have to do or have to register this thing as well. But here now we just say builder services and then add SignalR like that. And then down here, it's not enough. It just adds SignalR services to the specified iService collection, right? To the services in essence. But here now, we also have to add the URL for our chat. And how we do that is with app and then map hub. And by the way, our daughter is crying downstairs. So I hope you don't hear that. But if you do, apologies for that, but it's the only time I'm able to record new videos now, so it's late. Chat hub is the name of our class we want to use, and the URL for that could be anything, but maybe it makes sense to also call this thing chat hub like that. All right, so this is everything we need for the server. Short recap: we register SignalR, we register the actual chat hub, and the only class here is the chat hub, inheriting from the hub, so many hubs. Then we add the send message method, tongue twister here, send message method. And when we receive some messages, then we broadcast them back to all users. So even to the user that has sent this message, all right? Maybe this is important. Okay, there of course is more to it. We could dive deeper because, for instance, if a connection is established, then we could send a message to the chat where we say this user has connected, or when the user disconnected, we could send a message there. Fun stuff, right? So we can do a lot actually. But now the next thing is the client. And in here, I think it makes sense to just add a new page for the chat. Of course, it could be simply a component that we add to the counter page, for instance, if you want to do that. But anyways, you need a new Razor component. So here now, we just call that chat. And maybe add the page directive here already, so that this is available via the chat URL. And maybe we can also change or add this in the nav menu here. So let me just copy that real quick, remove the image or the icon maybe. Don't have one ready here. Call this chat, also chat, and then already let's just run that. Just want to see if this already works, so that we are able to access the chat page. There we are, and here's the chat. Beautiful. This is everything I want. And now here comes the magic. All right, page is there, but what we need now is a NuGet package, right? You remember on the server we did not need a NuGet package, but here we do. So right-click the project, manage NuGet packages, and when you go to the browse tab, you can just enter SignalR and then .client. And after a couple of seconds, you should see this thing. The client for ASP.NET Core SignalR, Microsoft ASP.NET Core SignalR client is the package we need. Install that. I accept. Great. And now we are ready to do some SignalR and WebSockets magic. So first thing, we need the navigation manager. You will see why in a sec. So add inject navigation, almost navigation manager, and then what I still tend to forget is the render mode. So you have to specify the render mode now, and in our case we wanted the interactive WebAssembly render mode. I really forget this too often still, and then I click buttons and nothing is happening, and I'm really wondering why is that. Well, you forgot to enter the render mode or add the render mode, so do that please. Now in our code block, yes, we are switching to the code block. We need a couple of stuff like a hub connection. Then what I want to do is I want to display a list of messages. Not very fancy. I actually just use an unordered list and then list items to display the messages. So no text area, for instance. Of course, we could do this way better. But anyways, we add a list and then an input text boxes for the user input, which is a string, and also the message input, so the username and the message. That's it. Okay, so let's just define all that. First thing would be the hub connection, like that. And as you can see now, we need a new reference, and maybe we can move that to the imports razor file like that. Should still be known, hopefully. Yep, that's great. Then we have the private list of strings called messages, which is a new list of string. Then the private string of user input. All right, and also private string message inputs. All right, now the next thing. Now first let me maybe close this so you see the file structure here. It's not much, right? You just have the chat page actually. But the next thing now is that we have to connect to the hub somehow. So we have to use our hub connection, and for that we use the onInitialized async lifecycle method in Blazor. So we start with protected override, and then onInitialized async it is. Maybe we can already add the async keyword here. Now the first thing is we want to build our hub connection, and for that we need the URL, so that chat hub thingy, right, you saw earlier. So now hub connection it is, and this is a new hub connection builder first, and then here now we say with URL, and now we need the navigation manager. So navigation manager, and then to absolute URI. All right, doesn't work because here's a typo. Why didn't you tell me, guys? And now here we just say /chat hub like that, I hope. And then down here we just add the build method. So as you can see here, it creates our hub connection. And now comes an also interesting part. I think it's something like a listener here. So when a specific message comes in, like the receive message, for instance, let me open that up real quick. So here again in the chat hub, we see we send the message with the term receive a message. This is the text, right? The method, as it says it here. It's so many tongue twisters here. So we get the method receive message. Then when we go to our chat, then something should happen, like displaying the message that the connection, the WebSocket connection, send us, right? So how can we do that? Well, we just say hub connection and then on, and as it says here, it registers a handler that will be invoked when the hub method with a specified method name, receive message, is invoked. It returns a value returned by handler to server if the server requests results. All right, so now the arguments that we expect here are two strings. Again, the username and the message. And then we say receive message again. I don't know why message input is suggested here all the time. Maybe you can tell me why. And then here now we add another method. So what shall we do with the actual arguments? So here now with the lambda expression, we say that we want to add the actual message that then will be displayed. So we, for instance, create an encoded message, let's call it that way. And here now we say this is simply the username colon and then the message, like that. Then we have our messages list up here, right? So here now we say messages at, come on, at encoded message it is. And then we say we have to call state has changed, because this means that the component will re-render itself. The page chat in this case will re-render itself so that the new message then will be displayed, because you will see in a sec that we will use a for each loop to actually then add the list items of the unordered list. Told you that earlier, right? That I just want to use an unordered list for the chat messages. All right, but that's not it. Next thing now is await hub connection, that one, and then start async. All right, and as it says it here, what is it doing? Starts a connection to the server. Simple as that, right? After that, we need two more or one more message, let's say, and that's the send message. So whenever we will press a button, we will call the send message, and this thing now will say hub connection, send async, and then this has to be called send message again with the user input and the message input, like that. And again, when we have a quick look here in our chat hub, this is the name of that message method, right? Send message method. I think in the next SignalR tutorial I will give these things different names because this is really hard. So the send message method will be called with these two arguments when we have a look at the chat page here, when we use this exact name. All right. Okay. Now markup. So here we called this page chat, or gave it the title chat. I'm fine with that. It's okay. And after that, we can do two things. First, we check if the connection has already been established. Then we display the input text fields and the send button. Otherwise, we can display a loading message, something like that, right? For that, we have to know if the connection is already there. So real quick, let's add another variable here. So public bool is connected. And this thing simply says if the hub connection state, not start async, state is hub connection state connected. You see, we've got lots of states here actually. So again, you can do lots of cool stuff, really, like displaying a loading animation, CSS stuff, you name it. So connecting, connected, reconnecting, disconnected, interesting stuff, right? But here now we just want to say, is the user connected? Is the client connected to the server? And now we can use that here. So if is connected, like, okay, I forgot the @ sign, of course. So if is now it, yep, that's the one. Told you it's late. So is connected. Now in that case, we display one input text field, really simple HTML stuff. So text and then bind, and here we just bind the user input like that, right? If you're wondering why we're not using the built-in input text field, well, we're not using an edit form here, so that's why. Another input text, and here we bind the message inputs, all right, like that. And then the button where on click we just call the send method, call this send, and in the end again the infamous unordered list because ID of that thing is now the, let's say, messages list here. And again, I want to use a for each. And for that, we say var message in the messages. It's a message list messages. And here now, we already have the curly braces there. A list item where we just display the message. Jesus, that was hard. Okay, and now in the else case, we just say span and now connecting, something like that. Okay, this should be everything actually. All right, so again, we bind the two strings here, user input, message input. Then we say, when we click the send button down here, we call this method, and this method name, the send message, has to match this name here, send message. All right, and then we get another method called receive message. And when we have a look here, this is our handler that is listening to the receive message method. And with that, then we add these the string here, the encoded message, to the messages list. Say state has changed, so please re-render yourself component. And that's it. All right, let's have a look. Nope, this was the wrong tab. That's the one. Is it rebuilding? Yep, it is. This is nice. All right, there we are. And you know what? Let me already open another tab so that we have two chats open and I put them next to each other. That's what I'm talking about, right? And now here, for instance, Spider-Man says, hello, send, and voila, another tab, and it works. Isn't that nice? And now here, Iron Man says, hey there, also send. And what if we open another tab? There we are. And now we say Wonder Woman, for instance, hello, works. And in this case, now what about when now Batman joins? I'm Batman, sent. You get the idea, right? So here now you see all the messages. Same here. This simply works. Isn't that nice? In a really, really short time, in my opinion, you can build a complete chat. Actually, well, complete chat, a tiny chat. The MVP, right? The minimum version here for this application can be built in really, really just a couple of minutes, actually. And this is the beauty of SignalR combined with Blazor WebAssembly. So I hope you learned something, guys. If you did, please hit the like button, subscribe to my channel. Shows me that you care. And if you want to support me even further, thank you so much for joining my Patreon page, my Patreon community. I love every single one of you. Thank you very much for supporting me, and thank you very much for watching this video. I hope I see you next time. Take care.